What's up, everybody? Welcome to Talking Shit. My name is Barrett Courtney. I'm one of your hosts. And here, joined with me, are my great co-hosts and even better friends, the bisexist from Texas, Henry Montiero.
Digital.
And over here is my favorite chunky punk, Ricky Balazan.
Future, yeah. Digital, yeah.
Digital.
If you don't know, Talking Shit is a weekly podcast where the three of us bring in random topics of discussion and we talk some shit about those topics. Think that's cool? Head on over to patreon.com/BGG so you can get every episode of Talking Shit in full, early. In full.
Fucking
Digital. And digital.
Digital.
Digital, yeah.
So yeah, go over to Patreon, get the full episode early before each topic is up on youtube.com/BayZonaGamers Monday through Thursday. And then Friday, the whole episode goes up for everybody on soundcloud.com/BZGSF. How you guys doing today?
Sick.
Yeah, you're sick as fuck. We recorded Let's Plays on Monday.
I'm trying to make it to these shows, though.
But that's good. You're dedicated. I was just listening to Nerds at the Round Table yesterday. The one, by the time you guys are either listening or watching this, earlier this week, or if you're watching this last week, someone, like a viewer, had a question of like how to start a podcast, and they had a lot of good advice about being consistent, of like making your podcast your priority and moving things around that, because we were really bad about that in 2015.
Yeah.
That was like our test run year.
It really was.
I feel like we learned a lot, and then like a lot of the tips and like advice Sean had to give, I was like, we're doing that now. We're doing that. Yeah. So, you know, I'm proud of where we've come from and where we are now.
Finally, he always shows up wearing his lucky cock ring now.
How do you know about that?
You hear it vibrate every once in a while when you're up against it. Goddamn switches.
You know when you get a call and there's just a sense of vibration around.
It's one of those things where like I have the remote for it.
How you doing this week, Henry?
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
I'm not sick.
Yeah. You had an interview last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go?
I still don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope it went well. My week's been all right. I was a guest on Irrational Passions podcast, episode 265.
Irrational Passionals.
Yeah.
I can't believe Alex O'Neill is dead.
Episode 200. Don't say that, because like, what if by the time this episode comes up, he died?
It's Forrest Whitaker's fault.
Episode 265. By the time you're listening to this or either watching this, it was last week's episode. So check that out. It was like their first like 3-hour podcast in like a couple weeks because of me. I talked about Firewatch, Undertale, Alex and I's bromance.
Firetail.
That sounds like
Underwatch.
Such a long podcast, but like, it's
yeah.
normal.
Well, no, we usually do an hour and a half. What we used to do in 2015, it was like 4 hours of recording. But how we do everything now, it's like the most recording we do every week now is like 2 hours. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Well, excluding Let's Plays. So this week, Henry and I each have 2 topics. We usually like to do 4 topics every week. So I asked Ricky to sit this one out this week of bringing in a topic, because there are 2 topics.
He was like, I'm down.
There are 2 topics Henry really wanted, but I really liked your topic that you were going to bring in, and I want to use that for next week. Like, I really like it, and I was really thinking about it a lot. You had 2 topics you really wanted to do, and I had 2 topics I really wanted to do, and I was just like, fuck. Because one of them is like, I need to get it out of the way before something goes wrong with just, you'll find out. One of the topics is important to get out of the way. The other one is just very relevant, and I want to like do it while it's still relevant.
Yeah, mine can totally have waited. That has like no relevance.
That's like an every other sort of
typical like favorites
topic sort of thing. Yeah. So Henry, we're gonna do your 2 topics first.
Okay.
Now, what do you want to talk about first?
First, I want to talk about the most important news we'll probably ever talk about on this show. The death of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia.
Let's get political.
Let's
get political.
Yeah. That was the most movement I've done all day.
Whenever we do a political topic, we have to do that from now on.
This is like our first sort of political topic, which is, because I don't feel like I've avoided those because I've wanted to talk about politics in the past, but I'm like, I don't feel like we're smart enough to talk about politics.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of feelings with the death of this Justice
Scalia.
So I'm just gonna let you rant on for a little bit, and if I feel like I have a good thing to say,
Jump
I'll
in.
try to say it, but I have no idea. So
So Antonin Scalia has been in power was in power in the Supreme Court since the tail end of the Reagan administration.
yeah, he appointed him,
Jesus.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amusingly enough, right around when Reagan had about 6 months left.
Yep.
So he's been in power for a very long time in the Supreme Court, and he's made a lot of decisions that a lot of people really don't like.
Mhm.
Like, he was one of the justices that opposed gay marriage.
Right.
Stuff like that. Super conservative, super constitutionalist. And a lot of people stick up for him because he also stood up for video games as art.
Yeah. I think Colin Moriarty and Greg
Yeah.
Miller were talking about that on Colin and Greg Live recently. And he did do gamers right, but I feel like there are still a lot of things that he has done that shouldn't be overlooked because of that.
Yeah, it's like saying,
you did video games a solid, but that still shouldn't like overpower all of sort of the shitty things that you think of or like think about. Or
it's like if
he's just on the wrong side of history with a lot of things.
It's like if everyone who loved video games just hated Roger Ebert from now on because he said video games aren't art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a difference between the opinions in the person, and Scalia was not a good person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the interesting thing about it is that he died at the worst possible time, right in the middle of possibly the biggest fiasco of an election we've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. It was to the point where I was at
Keep talking.
It was the day before he died on the 13th. Am I right?
Yes. He
and
died the day before Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and you had called me, and I was at like Buffalo Exchange, and he like calls me to tell me that. I was just like really out of nowhere. I was just like, oh fuck, like, and then like after we were done on the phone, I searched it up and everything just to kind of understand it more.
Mhm.
And yeah, it was like worst timing, just like fucking everything up.
Yeah.
And
So
now-
why does it fuck everything up? Explain this to us. Mainly for me, because I don't really understand it. And also maybe for some of our audience members who don't understand. I'll just say, just explain it for the audience members. I totally know things.
So basically, why this changes this so fundamentally is now this entire election is about replacing Scalia on the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Like, that's what the Congress is fighting now, because you have Mitch McConnell,
Okay.
who's like, he's pushing to not let Obama put in a new Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, so you're talking about this the other day where if it's the last 6 months of a president's term and there needs to be a Supreme Justice
they can play
appointed.
their trap card.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you were explaining this the other day, and then you made like a Yu-Gi-Oh analogy. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
But it made sense.
It all made sense.
Of just like, no, you play it for like when they attack you, and then you just like, oh, I have this trap card that I can play in conjunction with that move.
It
So
helped me
within the
figure it
last
out.
6 months of their term, they can't appoint a justice, correct?
They can, but but Congress is allowed to fight them on it.
But it's also
Only
like
within the
people are
last
trying
6
to
months.
fight Obama on it, but it's not the last 6 months of his term.
Remember, like, Congress just always wants to screw over Obama because they're
That's true.
primarily Republican focused, and there are some Republicans that are like non-interfering.
Uh-huh.
Like John McCain is like, just let him do it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because John McCain is usually put as like this horrible, annoying
Yeah,
fucking Republican.
he was recently on some late night talk show. And it's just something about Republicans. They're just so fucking charming when they're being interviewed.
Like
It's
whenever
how?
Donald Trump's on a show, and it's like frustrating.
Stop making me like you.
It's the way, it's the manipulative,
Yeah,
almost like putting on
it's
this
politics.
It's politics. You have to put on this charming kind of personality to be liked and get the votes and
That's
do all
true.
that kind of shit.
Yeah.
You want to be liked in politics. You
Yeah.
don't never want to be your true self.
But when you listen to John McCain in like interviews and stuff, and he's not all crazy and trying to run or anything. He like actually has like some interesting points on on just like topics and whatnot. So.
You'll say anything when you're put on the spot while you're running.
The
You'll
one-
say a lot of things.
Yeah.
The one exception is Ted Cruz. He's exactly as creepy and charmless when he's in an interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just a creepy looking guy.
Yeah.
Politics are a lot like serial killers. Let's put
This
it
is
that
his
way.
face like all the time. This will be great for the audio listeners.
Mm.
Every male politician is Ted
Is that
Bundy.
him in the video where he's trying to kiss the girl and she's like, no?
I
And he
think it
tries
is that,
again
yeah.
and then she's like, no.
Yeah, I think so. But where this really impacts it is that, like, now you have the Republican and Democratic side, and they're going to be pushing even more to get into power.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because if they delay this,
It's all about who's going to be the next president who can.
yeah, and then it's about who can appoint it. And the Republicans definitely don't want the Democrats to win now.
It's
Yeah.
pretty much this
I mean,
way, like,
with the Supreme Justice sort of people, like, is it primarily Republican right now, or
Yeah, with Scalia, I think it was like leaning towards Republican. It was like 5 Republicans and then 4 Democrats.
Okay.
just off by like one person.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually just always off by one person.
So they really don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
But if the Republicans win this next election, they'll have the president, they'll have Supreme Court majority, and they have the majority in Congress.
Mm,
So they'll control all 3 branches of government.
which is scary.
But if a Democratic president wins, like Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders, then they can appoint a Democratic.
Like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just put doors in.
She's
I think we're
basically Republican
Yeah,
at this point.
we're fucked if it's not him. Period.
but
I
like,
mean,
Not even like him that much.
let Henry talk,
Yeah.
and then I want to turn it a little towards like
The
my
burn.
thought, how my dad is feeling the burn.
his dad's just Daniel.
Oh, it's almost summer.
Well, no, my dad's been doing it all the fucking time. Daniel just recently put that out. He's like, I'm feeling the burn. I'm like, have you been hanging out with my dad recently?
Have
Like,
you heard?
What the fuck?
Have you heard Barrett on the phone with his father and
Yeah.
hear him say
It's
it?
so
good.
Like, he'll say it and you'll just be like, "Oh shit, it's true."
Like, I'm not
so funny.
exaggerating.
It's so funny because it's like you're the only person I know who's less Democratic than your dad.
Yeah, it's weird.
Or less
that's just
liberal,
because-
I'd say.
Yeah, it's again, we'll get to it, but just finish off like what you have
So-
thoughts on for the.
So if Bernie Sanders wins,
Mhm.
then he can appoint a Democratic Supreme Court justice, which means you have a Democratic president, Democratic Supreme Court. Congress is still going to be Republican. for
Yeah,
the
and
most
like
part.
we
Yeah.
really need to get on that train of making sure to vote when there's like when we need to appoint new Congress people, because that's really what happened that year when they took the Congress. Was not a lot of people voted that year.
It's because people only focus on the
Democrats-
president.
Exactly, and it's also mainly because Democrats are the majority of Democrats are people in our generation.
It skews younger.
Yeah, and it's and they don't care about anything else because a lot of people our age don't really give a fuck about politics,
Yeah.
and they'll only pay attention because they think that, you know, having a Democratic president, even with like a Republican Congress and all this shit, will change
It
stuff, and
won't.
they don't understand that.
The Democrats in our generation is almost like this new generation of baseball fans that kind of like, if everybody's going to it, like if the Giants are like winning, they'll like gear out, be there supporting and all this shit. But if it's something they don't really know about, like they're not going to be playing like fantasy baseball or anything or any of that shit. They'll only go with like the main thing, voting for a fucking president, going with the fucking Giants, going with the
I'm dancing
Broncos
like
or something.
I'm dancing like this because tomorrow, the day after we record,
Fantasy.
we're drafting for our fantasy
But,
league.
But
like
it's like
the other
that.
thing is that with the so like the only things they care about is like if whatever the president is, they'll probably go out and vote because it's like a whole election day thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then the only things they care about is the stuff that skews towards the youth demographic.
Yeah.
Like they'll care about like, hey, if there's something about high school or college, we'll go vote for it. If it's about weed, we'll go vote for it.
But if it's anything else that doesn't affect them, they won't do
If
it.
it's
and then
something
that's
they
where
don't
lose.
easily understand,
Yeah.
like if you
Because people don't feel like reading up about shit, and that's what like the for voting day this last year was really important in San Francisco because of Prop F. Because if you vote yes on Prop F, it would take away a lot of like the power that
Prop fuck me, right?
BRNB.
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
BR3.
Like I know people who work for that
Airbnb right
company too. Airbnb and all that stuff. It would give less power to them because they've been taking like a lot of places in San Francisco. And if you vote no on Prop F, it would like give San Francisco, like people who own property, give them the chance to still like raise prices of housing. And all they heard was that, like, oh, we don't want to raise housing prices anymore. Like we gotta vote yes on F. But the whole thing with if you vote yes, your neighbors can like you're not allowed to have guests at your house.
Yeah.
Who would stay over for more than like a day or two or something like that. And if your neighbors had any suspicion, even if they didn't have any proof, if they had any suspicion, yeah, it's really fucking windy in San Francisco today.
Holy fuck! I like felt the room shake. I was
Sorry
like,
to hear
holy
that.
shit.
They probably won't. But if the power goes out at all, it's probably because the wind like made like
Fuck.
something like tear down or
I
something.
thought that was like me being sick and like tired. I was like, oh shit.
So if they even suspect that like you have guests at your place, they can report you to the city, in which the city would investigate like the whole cause and whatnot. And even if the city didn't find you guilty, your neighbors could still sue you over damages. Fucking read the prop. And like so many people were like, I remember when the results went up that night and Prop F like was declined, and I was so fucking happy. And it was really sad to see all of these people upset about it. And I was like, you obviously didn't fucking read about it, because you get the fucking booklet every year about what all the props are. And I feel like I was one of the 5 people who actually went through that shit.
Yeah.
I went through the entire thing.
More,
I hate reading.
Like if you're gonna look through the fucking booklet to pick your classes for the semester, you can at least look through that, because it's a little bit more serious, especially in a place where we live, where everything is hidden behind bullshit.
Like I would rather pay more to live here than just randomly be sued. Because I like, if I have to pay more, there's like an adjustment period where like I can ask for like a raise, or also minimum wage is being raised and all that stuff. Like there is time to try to adjust and recover. But just to like randomly be sued by your neighbor just because you might have like
that could fuck you up.
That could fuck you up.
You don't know when it's coming, and you're gonna end up paying more for that shit.
And you never know how much you're gonna sue, and they could just completely bankrupt you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Plus, people who voted for Ed Lee because he was the only name they recognized.
Don't even get me started on those motherfuckers.
I voted for broke ass Stewart.
Yeah.
Anything's better than that piece of shit.
I didn't vote for broke ass Stewart. I forget who I voted for, but
I was part of the vote 1, 2, 3 replace Ed Lee Facebook group.
So, did you have anything else to say about Scalia and this what it means for this?
I just want to
campaign?
tell everyone who's listening, definitely go out and vote.
Yeah.
Vote this year. It's an important year.
Always make sure to vote.
Every year is an important year.
And like always pay attention to what's happening. Make sure you know who your congressman is. Make sure you know whatever the props are going on. Make sure Ed Lee doesn't keep getting power.
Move to San Francisco just to vote no on Ed Lee.
Yeah, bingo.
There's some rumors. The FBI is investigating some shit in City Hall
Fucking at
for
least
public
like
services.
the littlest win.
But they haven't named. They're investigating 3 people, and they haven't named who they're investigating. I hope to fucking Christ it's Ed Lee.
I would,
because he had like one of them admitted to dealing with racketeering, and Ed Lee was supposed to be a part of that as well. So
just so the audience like understands how serious this shit is, coming from someone who hates politics. I hate talking about it.
Yeah.
I hate even engaging in it. I just don't want.
You said you would never date someone who's super into politics.
Yeah. I just can't handle, like, if that's
you
gonna
would
be
never
the
date my dad.
Like if that's
And
gonna
never
be
date me.
if that's the biggest thing we're gonna fucking talk about, I can't handle it. I can't. We need to talk about other shit. It's too much. I'm paying attention to this 150% because of how serious it is, because of how much we are getting fucked by this bullshit.
We're getting fucked.
I'll do anything to see that piece of shit leaving handcuffs.
So Henry,
if anything, executed on the spot.
Your advice is to go out and vote.
Go out and vote. Make sure that you're informed on politics.
Yeah. Exactly. Read about things. Actually read through the props and
Like
what
2
you're
seconds.
voting for, you know? And if something's confusing to you, because they're and that's the thing is a lot of Prop F, a lot of the way that was written was very confusing and very shady.
An hour
And that's why it didn't get passed, because, you know, a lot of props, the reason they get denied, because like they have like so many like great ideas and whatnot, there's always fucking weird back end shit, and that's the stuff that they always write in a weird way so people don't fucking understand it, but then they like understand like the cool part that like helps them out, but then they don't understand what could possibly fuck them over, so they're like, oh, whatever.
Everyone is like, we're lowering the rent, but every house will be filled with silverfish.
Yeah, exactly. If you can take like Netflix will be there when you get
I haven't
back.
actually seen a silverfish ever since I moved from Ohio. So weird. I thought that was just like a weird Midwest thing.
So just remember before
you were pointing at the like our timer thing.
Just remember, keep going.
Just remember, like, just to end this topic, an hour or two of reading about props is better than 4 hours of getting fucked in the ass.
Yeah,
exactly.
Netflix, 4 years of getting fucked in the ass.
Netflix will be right there when you get back. If you can spend all day catching up on the stupid Walking Dead, you can spend 2 hours just reading up on it.
So, and the one thing I want to add in this topic with just sort of how I feel.
This topic's had like 4 endings.
Yeah,
this is like
how I
Return
feel
of the
about
King.
Bernie Sanders is much like the way Colin Moriarty feels about Bernie Sanders. Colin Moriarty is very proud to be a Republican.
Colin Moriarty president.
Yeah, Colin Moriarty for president. Let's see, he's 31 now. When can you run?
36.
36. So
Next year.
No,
we can't.
Colin Moriarty for president in 2024.
Yeah. Let's make this shit happen.
But anyway, he is a Republican. He moves to the conservative side more when it comes to financials and economics, and he is more liberal when it comes to
the social
aspects. Like, and that's why I respect him a lot.
He
and
says
like,
what everybody's thinking.
Yeah, and he is like one of the most like grounded, well-rounded Republicans I've ever met in my life. And because I've come from Ohio, where that state is it's a purple state, but a lot of like the Cleveland area is very red, and it's a lot of people who are just fucking crazy because we're right above the religious belt.
Yep.
So we still get a little bit of that, and it's just really fucking crazy about like what people think on social standings. And that's the thing is like Bernie Sanders. And again, this is sort of going back to Colin Moriarty's thoughts, but like I agree with him is like Bernie Sanders is very on it when it comes to the social standings and of like taking care of people and like people having rights and all of this stuff. But when it comes to dealing with outside forces, when it comes to foreign affairs, like he has no fucking idea what he's talking about. And when it comes to economics, like I'm sort of glad like we have a Republican Congress right now, because if we had a Democratic Congress, or maybe not, maybe they would be able to see it too. But like when it comes to economics, if we did all of the stuff that he would want us to do, like our country would be fucked again.
Yeah.
Like fucked.
Yeah.
And you can put up your fucking bullshit memes online of this is how he would pay for all of these things that aren't realistic. They aren't. And you aren't like, he doesn't say those things. He's not like, oh, we're going to take this money and move it over here and all that. He has never said that. He hasn't said that yet. You are saying that because that's what you think. So
yeah, there's a reason out of everybody, you and I are registered independent, is because it's not like you can't just have this and have it like no problems with it. There's always
and then my dad was like, he's like, are you registered as a Democrat? I was like, no, I'm registered as an independent. He's like, you should re-register. I was like, as a Republican, so I can make sure Trump doesn't win the primary.
My dad's registered as an independent.
And he was like, no, you should register as a Democrat so you can make sure Bernie wins the primary. I was like, I don't know. And like my dad has been like he's been shoving Bernie Sanders down my fucking throat.
So everyone vote for Martin O'Malley.
He's like at like 1 a.m, he'll send me like he's in Denver, maybe not. He was in Denver this last weekend because Ween was doing their comeback shows or whatever.
Ween is back, baby.
And Bernie Sanders was also in town, so he was sending like
Bernie Sanders was at the Ween show.
we were talking about like how Bernie Sanders was opening up for Ween that weekend, and he was sending me like all of
he was
these
the one
like
playing the piano for Dancing in the Show tonight.
he was sending me all of these Bernie Sanders like / like Ween like memes and shit. And I was like, oh my god,
the internet's great.
Anyway, I don't know who you should vote for, but at least read up on them.
Just know what you're doing.
Just before you make a solid decision. What I really hope like happens this year, and the thing is like Bernie Sanders, if he wins, not a lot will actually change because we do have a Republican Congress, and I think best case scenario, and this is like this is sort of like a long situation here for this run, this campaign, this presidential election for 2016. Best case scenario, Trump drops out of the race. Trump's out of the race. He drops out of the Republican Party, goes as an independent, splits the Republican vote. Hopefully, Bernie gets elected. Nothing changes the next 4 years, and then we can get better.
Kanye as president.
Then we can get better fucking candidates for the next election, because that's the thing. All of them fucking suck.
Yeah.